Hello, and welcome to our show, Tea Talk, Real Talk, Conversations Over Tea. I'm Sharon, and so today we have a guest who is a lawyer, and she's also an author. So how cool is that? So today I want to let you know we're having a wonderful green tea today so that we can relax, unwind, de-stress, and have a great conversation. So Maria, tell us a little bit about your journey. How did you decide to write about a book, when you're an attorney and you're so busy and things like that? So just let us know about that.
Sure. I read a lot. I always have read a lot. And after working hard all day reading law-related items, whether it's a brief or cases or, I would go home and just read, usually best-selling novels, that kind of thing. And I did read a lot of romance because I'm a divorce lawyer.
Right.
So I need to get away from the divorce area at night. So I was reading a well-known novelist book. This is about 15, 16 years ago. And I was really frustrated with the book. And of course, anytime you get frustrated, you say things like, I can do this. Right. Of course you can't. But I got it in my head that I wanted to try it.
Right.
So interestingly, I had no clue how to write creatively because legal writing is very different from creative writing. And at work, I didn't even do my own word processing. Back then, we dictated and we have secretaries. And so I had to learn how to word process first because I was not going to write this out in longhand and I wasn't going to dictate it and have someone else type it. It's like, my baby.
Exactly.
So I took a word processing class, just a day, because I know how to type.
Yes.
And I then said, okay, where do I start? How do you start with a book? Well, interestingly enough, across my desk at work comes a flyer on how to write a novel in 14 days.
Oh my gosh.
It was just like fate.
Did you think, wow, 14 days?
Well,
did it sound like crazy?
It is crazy. and you can't possibly do it, but certainly it grabs your attention. And it was for lawyers, because doesn't every lawyer want to be a John Grisham? So the seminar was in Edison, and I signed up for it. It was just a half day. And I'm driving to Edison thinking, nobody's going to be at this seminar. And I get there and the room is packed with attorneys who want to write. But it was a really inspiring seminar in terms of how to get started. It wasn't to write a book in 14 days, but I didn't even know how to start. And it kind of led me through this really in-depth outline of what you're doing. So that's where I started, and I always have ideas, so that's not the problem. I have tons of ideas. So I sat down, I started working on my outline, and then you sit down and you write the book, and that probably took 2 years. Wow. I work full-time, and I had younger children at the time. So with all of their homework and activities and that kind of thing, there was not a lot of time. So after I finished the book, then you have to send it out, and that's a really scary thing to do.
I'm sure you must have thought,
sending it out.
Did you think, someone could steal my idea?
No,
no.
You just worry about how awful is this?
Right. Oh.
And what kind of rejections are you going to get back? So I did send it to someone, and I got a really nice letter saying that I had pretty much the bottom line, I had a lot to learn.
Oh no.
So I joined New Jersey Romance Writers, which has been a wonderful organization to learn the craft of writing. And also to be with other authors at all different levels. I mean, there are published authors. We used to call ourselves pre-published authors as opposed to nothing. So you meet people at all levels in the writing field, and there were always their monthly meetings, and they always had wonderful guest speakers. They have a yearly conference. Sometimes they have another all-day seminar just on the craft of writing. And during those seminars, I learned an awful lot about writing and what I was doing wrong. So I look at it all as this learning process. But in getting published, it took me 15 years to get published. And part of it is because of the time
Right,
that
when
I
you started.
didn't have
Right.
to really dedicate to it. But Unchained Memories this is the 5th book that I've written.
Wow. Wow.
So
Nice.
the other 4 are sitting
Nice.
in my computer, and they're in a drawer.
Right.
And actually, I went back to the 3rd book that I wrote, which is sort of the book of my heart, and I'm reworking that and turning it into a series, and that's called Weekend Diaries.
Okay.
So
So
I'm
these are
working
all
on that.
novels
They're
about
all
love? And
yeah, they're
okay,
romance,
okay.
contemporary romance. However, because I'm a lawyer, I always have a lawsuit involved, or certainly one of my characters is always a lawyer, because that's what I know.
Right, exactly. So,
So that's how this came to be after all those years of sending it out and getting rejections, and you still get rejections.
Right,
I mean,
it's part of life.
Part of it.
It's just knowing how to deal with it and grow.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes, like they say, you have to fall flat on your face first, and you get up strong.
I think persistence is key, and I could have given up 10 years ago. You get so many rejections, and you get, I call it my funk. I get into my funk. And then you don't really want to write, and you don't really want to send it out. And so at that point, you just either continue on or you stop. And a lot of people stop.
Right.
But
because there's so many other people out there doing romance novels, so you have to put a twist on yours. I'm sure you have to think, well, what can I put in mine that's going to make it
a little different, something that will
have a great story or something,
Right.
Yeah.
And you're right, there are so many books out there, and so many wonderful books out there. So it is, how do you get yourself out there? It's hard.
It's
hard.
So how many hours a week did you put into this? When it came to this part where you wanted to really get it published?
Okay, well, I've always wanted to get it published.
Right.
So I finally got a contract on this book last, I want to say March. We're talking 2013.
Okay.
Signed a contract, worked with an editor. The good thing is I'm such a mad editor myself.
Wow.
Like by the time it goes out,
Right.
There really isn't a whole lot to do. There may be like some story issues or questions, but I edit my things to death.
Right. I don't think most of us do.
And I think it's part of, I do that at work too. My secretary hates it, my associate hates it. I just get out that pen and just, all my stuff too.
Right.
I edit it many, many times before it goes out. I want it to be perfect.
Of course.
Everybody wants it to be perfect. So when it did go out, and I signed the contract, I worked with an editor for some of the story issues, and it was ready to go by September.
Okay.
So it was being published in print form in January of 2014 is when it came out.
Okay.
And so all the time in between, after it's ready to go, you work on the cover and some of the other issues that go along with it.
So you had a designer to design that for you?
Well, my publisher is the Wild Rose Press publishing company, and you work with their editors and their cover people, and you give them an idea of what you want. Right. So because the book was taking place in Princeton, I wanted an iconic Princeton setting. So we have the Graduate Tower, which everybody knows, right? I also I didn't want the man and the woman embracing.
Right.
I just
it's
don't
a beautiful
like
cover.
That.
It's a beautiful
but
cover.
I also really didn't want her face showing. I sort of wanted her to be looking away, because I want everybody to have their own idea of what the heroine looks like. And in my mind, she doesn't really look like this. However,
but everyone, that's the great thing about books. It's everybody's own imagination.
It's their own
Even though
imagination.
that picture might be on the front.
Right.
You're imagining
so,
someone who's
she does
reading.
have long hair, although it was chestnut colored, but it was hard to get exactly what you wanted.
Okay.
So the good thing is, I do love the cover.
Yes, it's a beautiful cover.
They did listen to what I wanted on the cover, which was nice.
Beautiful.
So then there's all kinds of things that you have to do with a website and getting out there on social media, none of which I had or knew how to do.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. Because one of my girlfriends, she's an author. She's been writing for years and years, and I forget how many books she has now published, but it's very difficult with you know, once you write it and now you have to get it out for people to buy the book.
Right.
You know, so where is it posted right now?
Okay,
or
so
stores?
Barnes & Noble is really the only bookstore in town, and they do not carry the Wild Rose Press Publishing Company books. So it can be bought in print on barnesandnoble.com or amazon.com or iTunes. Well, I guess iTunes and some of the other ones, you can get it on your e-readers.
Right, okay.
You know, so you can get it on Kindle for Amazon, you can get it on Barnes & Noble, the Nook, or read it on your any other e-reader. To get it in print, you would go to either amazon.com or the Wild Rose Press Publishing Company. Now, I'm also, because I'm friendly with some of the people in town, in Princeton as well as Pennington, some of my friends or acquaintances who have stores are selling it in their little gift shops. So it's being sold at Monday Morning Flowers.
Yes, wonderful place.
And it's going to be starting this weekend at a little consignment shop in Pennington that does a lot of designer labels like Coco Chanel and stuff.
Oh, nice.
But she's a friend of mine, and my book will be there as well. So I'm trying to get it in stores before Christmas, just as maybe a gift idea.
Yes.
It's just one more thing.
It is. It's one more thing
to try to think about.
So, do you have someone that's pushing it out for you on social media? Because I mean,
it's me. It's all me.
It's okay.
So anytime I'm doing something, I will post it on my Facebook page and send out some tweets. And then I have a lot of networking people, authors, who will send it out to their friends.
Because that's what I was going to say. Recommend all your friends, push it out there, but use every platform that you can that's free. So you have Pinterest. I don't know if you use Pinterest.
I haven't done that yet.
Okay, so you have to get on Pinterest. You have to get on Instagram. There's so many free platforms that we need to utilize. And sometimes it might not be people buying it right away, but it's just getting it out there. They're knowing who you are, and you can put like little tweets about little parts in the book. Just different things like that.
You would be a great person to learn that from.
Well, I'll be a great person that can push it out for you too, because I love to be on social media because I have my business. So, but that's definitely the place that you have to be.
That is the place, and people don't even go into bookstores that often. And if you look in the bookstores, they have a lot more than books now because people are looking to put books on their Nooks and Kindles and other e-readers.
I like to just have my book, have my little tea, and that's what I'm doing. I'm just I have to touch it. I don't want to read it from somewhere or someone else is talking, and I don't want to do it that way. I just like the old-fashioned way. To me, that's just the best way to read a book.
I totally agree. I've always loved books. I have a library at home. I love libraries. I love bookstores. So when I first got my book in print,
It's exciting.
It was so amazing.
Of course it is. Like, wow. Look at this.
This is me.
It is. It's wonderful. And there's also Classics Bookstore in Trenton. A great place to go. They have a lot of old books, new books, but that's also a great place. So I'll put you in touch with the owners there.
That would be wonderful. I grew up in Trenton, so I have really strong roots.
I don't know if you know Eric Maywar. He is the one that runs that, and it's really a great place. And I don't know, have you been doing any book signings or anything yet?
I have. Actually, I was invited to do the book signing at the Princeton Library. I think that was back in April. It was local authors. There were about 40 of us. I also, this book was a finalist at the New Jersey Romance Writers Golden Leaf Contest, and we just had our conference in October, and we have a book signing after the conference, open to the public, and I have done that. I had the most fun book signing, though, we had at my office, Stark and Stark, when it first came out, and so all my friends and relatives and colleagues came, and it was just such an exciting night for me, because it was really the first time it was getting out there, and so I was amongst friends and colleagues. So
they're saying, wow, you're already accomplished, but now this, it's like, oh, you could just say, I can imagine that's really wonderful, because all the work, like you said, it took 15 years to get it to this point, because of your regular life of having children and being married and being an attorney and all the other things that you do outside of that. It can become so daunting with all the things that you have to do. So This is truly, truly an accomplishment.
Well, thank you. I
Wonderful.
I really love doing it,
Yes.
and people say, well, when do you write? And I will come home at night after work, and I don't really get home until like 6:30, 7 o'clock,
Right.
and I'll eat dinner, and if hopefully there's nothing that I have to watch on TV, like one of the dancing shows,
Right.
which I love.
Which can get in the way of you writing.
But if I can, I will go up and work at night for a few hours, and I
Right.
don't feel like it's work.
Right, of course it's not.
It's fun. It's fun for me. Even
Yes.
editing. People hate to
Yes.
edit. I love
Yeah,
to edit.
wow. Yeah, that's one thing I
So-
don't like to do.
And weekends. If I can have a weekend where
Just
I
to
have
do that.
nothing else to do, I'm so happy.
Wow. Yeah, well, that's your baby.
So, as I said, I'm actually sending out right now, or have sent out, my newest manuscript called Dancing in the
Great.
Sand.
Nice.
And I'm hoping to sign a contract on
Wow.
that, but I don't know yet.
Wonderful. The same publisher?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful.
So they're reviewing it,
Good.
and they will get back to me. And as I said, I'm going back to a book that I had
Right.
written a while ago and updating it. And interestingly, in terms
This
of
is
updating,
it's a lot of pages. It's like, wow, it's awesome.
it's fun. But in updating a book, so I had written Weekend Diaries. I want to say it was finished 10 years ago.
Wow.
Well, everybody didn't have everything that their cell phones do
Right.
now with emails and things like that. So I had my heroine not even having a cell phone
Right.
with her. like she would just use the house
Could
phone.
you imagine? What is, you mean like this?
And then she would go like to the office supply store to pick up faxes. And I'm like, okay, this is really dated.
Right, right.
So I had to tweak some of that.
Yes, I'm sure.
Some of that.
Yes. I know, that's, it's amazing when you think about it. I always sit and say, what would I do without my cell phone? Because if I'm off somewhere and I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot, I have to turn back and get a cell phone, I feel like I'm stuck with that on me all day long.
It's
So
necessary.
terrible.
It is terrible.
What did we do before cell phone?
I know. Interestingly, my husband and I had gone up to the mountains to visit a friend over the summer for 2.5 days. This was not a long time. So I didn't put my away message at work, mostly because I didn't want people to know that I was away
Right,
for 2.5
right,
days,
right.
because it wasn't really a vacation. And I do put my away message up when we're away for a week or more. So, but I had my cell phone, and I always go through my emails and
Yes.
respond, right? So we get up to the mountains, and there's no cell service, none, which was fabulous. It was so nice. So on our way home on Wednesday afternoon, I'm in the car, and my husband's driving, so I'm going through my
Right.
emails, and I have one from a client who says, "Are you still my attorney?" And I look back, and he had sent me 3 other emails between Monday morning and
Right.
Wednesday
Wow.
afternoon, and I hadn't
Right,
responded.
oh no.
But I didn't really think that 2.5 days
Right, I know.
was all that
I
long,
hope it was something really pressing.
and it wasn't. But it's interesting how people want immediate responses to
Right.
an email, and maybe you can go one day, but 2.5
Yes,
days was
I
clearly
know.
too long.
I guess so. Sometimes I know.
But it was nice to be away with
I'm
no
sure.
cell service.
Yes, I know. That is nice. I remember a few years back, and it's really a few years back, when I was married, and we went to a campground. And of course, there's nothing there. There's no phones. Nothing was there. And my husband and my son, they were like bored stiff, like, oh, there's no TV, there's no this. I'm like, but that's the whole point of it.
That is
my
the
daughter
point.
and I think she may have been maybe 10 years old at the time. And she loved it. We had so much fun. We had a blast. And I said, you know what? This is great for people to just get away. There's no phone, no TV, no radio. Now you can have, family time, really just
Right.
enjoying each other.
I love
We're
to
not
play
doing
games.
that, exactly. We had a blast.
So I think that's a really
yeah.
fun thing to
It
do.
is,
And
it
of course, we
is.
like to read, so that's always a nice
Yes,
thing.
yes, definitely. Yeah. So back to book signings, I think what you could do, because I have been working with a lot of people that have done writing, writing books, and a lot of them are really going like week after week, different places to do the book signing. And I think that's something that you probably need to try to do, is probably just try to do more book signings. That I think that will help, in terms of getting the books out there.
I think that's a
Yes,
great
yeah.
idea. And there have been a few that I just haven't been able to make. There was one in Belmar, and we have a place in Bradley Beach, which is just 2 towns over. And it was a Saturday in October, or Sunday in October, and it sounded like a wonderful idea, except that my daughter's shower was the day before, and I was telling you she's getting married soon, and with all the wedding planning, that's sort of creeping up on me.
Oh my God.
So, however, the wedding is in 3 weeks, and so after that, I'm going to have so much time.
Yes, yeah, I know that whole wedding thing.
It's a lot of fun, but it's daunting.
Yes, it is.
And there's a lot of detail to take care of in between everything else. So the good thing is I'm really going to feel, after that wedding is over, I'll feel sad because after all the planning that goes into it. But I do feel that I'm going to have an awful lot of time to get back and concentrate on getting out there.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I'm trying to do is to reach out to the local hospitals because they have gift shops.
Right.
And the book takes place in a local hospital. The hero is an ER doctor.
Okay. Yes.
So I just think that would be a good place.
Yes, definitely.
So
and it'll be something fun. You know, maybe you can have some of the patients and other people that's seeing this stuff.
Right.
It's nice.
Right.
Wonderful.
So it's good. The nice thing is that over 17,000 copies have been sold.
Wow, that's beautiful.
So that was thrilling to me that there are people out there who are buying it, and even though it's not in a bookstore. And it does help to, I won the Wisconsin Romance Writers of America Right Touch Readers Award, so that they like me in Wisconsin.
Oh my God. That's fabulous.
Which is a good thing.
Fabulous. My girlfriend has a blog radio show. That's the same one I was saying as an author. So I have to get you in touch with her. She was on the show as well. She's been writing forever. So if you can go on there and talk about your book as well. You know, as many people as I can remember, I will definitely put you in touch with them.
I will touch base with you and try to get all of your ideas because it's really so helpful to me. Since that's your area of expertise and mine is the law.
A lot of friends that have stores and boutiques, and I think if you can do book signings there, that would be fabulous.
And that would be so fun too.
It would be.
Because I love to talk to readers and what do they like, what don't they like, what are they looking for in a book, because I could incorporate that into my next book. Right. Of course, all my friends want to be in my books now.
Can you kind of sneak me in there?
They say, but I want to be tall and thin. Maybe 20 years younger.
Yeah, that's exciting though. And you said you have maybe, 3 other books?
I do. Well, this was the 5th book that I wrote. Okay. So I have 4 books that are sitting around. My 3rd book I am revisiting. Okay. And then I will probably revisit the 4th. Okay. My guess is that the first 2 books may never see the light of day because I was really learning how to write and how to create characters and plotting and all of that. I think that would be daunting to go back to those books. One of them is like over 400 pages.
Oh my goodness.
Because I had actually was making it 2 parts. Okay. And then I put them together.
I guess if you had to, you could, but.
I could. But one of the fun things about writing is sitting down and writing something new. After you've edited something to death, you just feel like, I need something new, something to get the creative juices going again. Yes. So one of the things that I'm doing with my Weekend Diaries series is I did go back and I fixed the first book, or what's going to be the first book in the series, and I started plotting and planning the next book. Nice. There's 5 girlfriends, high school girlfriends that were involved in that story.
I need some more tea.
And so I wrote the story of the first girlfriend, and now I'm going to take the next one on, and I'm excited about that because it's something new.
It is. After
a while of editing.
Oh, wow. That's so fun. That's so much fun. But again, I know for me, I'm great at chatting, but to write, I am totally lost because I'm very wordy. So when I write and I'm looking at it like, why do I have all these extra words?
That's one of the things that you learn up front. Like one of the interesting things that I learned really early on is that you can't have 3 points of view in one paragraph. Right. Like, point of view, what's that? But you learn to have 1 point of view per scene. Right. So that was a huge edit to go through the whole book and fix that. Yes. But you're right, wordy. I would get that as a criticism. You're too wordy. Yeah. Okay. Take out the that's and the whiches and the alsos and And there's so many words that aren't necessary to take out. But
Yes.
again, I don't mind doing that.
Yeah, you love that part of it. That's great. That's wonderful.
So it's all good,
Yes,
all
yes.
good. This tea is delicious, by the way.
Oh, good, good. This is the Blue Mango Paradise. It's the green tea. So
And green tea is
for you.
supposed to be so good for us.
Very good for you. So, and it tastes good. That's the best part of it. So,
It is, and I love your china.
Yes,
I was
thank
telling you before, I have china with flowers on it that was my aunt's.
Yes.
And so it reminds me of her
Yeah,
every time I use it.
Isn't it special?
It is special.
It's so special. And every piece that I have, some of them I purchased, and then a lot of my clients have given it to me. Or I had this one lady, matter of fact, this here and then this, which goes together. She read a story, an article in the Star Ledger, and she called me all excited. Oh my gosh, I read your story, and my mom had passed away. She has these beautiful china. I'm thinking, oh my God, great. So she sent it to me like 2 days later, and I opened it up, and I was like, wow, I was so blown away because it's really, really fine, very thin.
Right.
And so I'm very, very careful with this, you know, and only my special friends get to drink out of it. I never take it to do a tea party. And so it's just wonderful to just have this, you know, that's what we were saying outside, that, you know, people are not really sitting down and enjoying their tea experience.
We're so rushed.
Yes, always
all
rushing.
The time.
And this is, brings it down a notch.
I love this,
Yeah.
and as you suggested, I am going to bring
yes.
a china teacup and
To
saucer
work.
to my office.
Exactly.
So that when I get stressed,
There you go.
I will have some tea.
Look.
It may be Lipton.
Well, after today, you don't have to do that. But no,
you'll tell me about the tea.
Yes, but and then even before, when you're going for your trial, you can have a cup of tea, and then you'll be ready to go. You'll be charged.
Trials, those are stressful.
Yes.
Those are very stressful. But I am trying to get more people to get divorced through the collaborative process.
Okay.
Because trials don't work.
Okay. And
no
tell us a little bit about that. Like, how does that work?
So the collaborative process is where you would hire a collaboratively trained attorney, both sides, and you agree not to go to court.
Okay.
And you agree to sit down, and we're going to work through it together. The four of us, along with a divorce coach, who is generally a mental health professional, psychologist, and MSW, who can help us through those difficult patches, through communication, so that when people are not communicating because they're so angry with each other, that we can sort of break that down and let's get back to what we need to be doing to resolve the case.
Right.
You know, we bring in financial professionals if necessary. We bring in any appraisers that are necessary, which we would do in any case anyway. But it's a much nicer way of getting divorced if there's a nice way to get divorced. But, you know, the litigation system is just not, it doesn't work. The court systems are too backed up. The judges are overwhelmed and overworked. The divorce attorneys know how to settle these cases. I've been doing this for 31 years. That's a long time. So I know the case law. I know, you know, the statutes. I write articles and blogs on that kind of thing. So I know how to settle these things, and if we can get everybody on the same page to settle these things, it's a much nicer way of getting divorced. And we can do it much more quickly and less expensive.
Yes, I think so.
So it's all good.
Yes. And on that note, we're already up. I know time flies when you're having fun. This was a lot of fun. So thank you so much for coming onto the show. And until next time, bye-bye.